I thought that Crawford summed it up pretty well when he said, Charlo's not on my hit list anymore. What he did tonight was just lay down for Canelo and get run over, basically. And as I was watching, I was wondering if you thought that the fight was more of a result of Canelo just being so much better than Charlo, or if Charlo, or a combination of that plus Charlo it seemed to your point, not even try. I mean, it looked like he never tried to win, actually, that he was trying to survive. I think he hinted at that at the press conference, that he was proud that he survived. But I thought Crawford's summation was perfect. I mean, it looked to me like he was laying down. I don't like to be so critical of such a good fighter, but it didn't look like he wanted to win.
Well, when you're inactive a year and a half, it hurts your chances. Your chances to be in the right mental space to begin with. Confidence and belief in yourself. So a year and a half inactivity don't help.
You could take a guy like Mickey Ward, who's been out for 10 years, and he'd get in there. You'd know he want to win. Because he'd either win or get smashed.
It is about choices. So you're making a choice, Why did he take the fight? Why did he not demand? I'm not saying he wouldn't get it. He would get it. But why not demand him come down to 160 and then he could move up from 154, right? From 54, whatever his weight is, and meet him at 160. Was it 54, 56, whatever? He could meet him at 160. Why wouldn't he demand that, give himself more confidence, a better chance to win? Like I said, he probably wouldn't get it, but he made a choice to get paid. I'm not saying he didn't try the best he could try in the state of mind he was in. What I am saying is he was not in a state of mind. Once he made that decision to go along with the demands of the golden man, the man who craps out golden eggs for pay-per-view, for boxing, for WBC, WBA, whoever, who brings the sanctioning fees, who brings all the dinero. Once he made a choice, it's all about choices in life. We all make choices, and they impact us one way or another. Once Charlo made a choice, yes, I'll come up to a weight class that really I can't compete at. Not with a good fighter. And he's a very good fighter, Canelo. But once he made that choice, then he has chosen to get paid over winning. And once you go down that road, it's a slippery slope. Once you start going down that road, there's a lot of, shortcuts in that road. There's a lot of turn-off places in that road that you can turn off. Some of those places you can turn off to the side is like, making concessions. Concessions in, is it more important to survive or more important to win? And we're human. We all hope we would make better choices in those conditions, but we're not all in there with a guy that big, that strong, with those advantages over us at that moment that those decisions come up. So, like I said, I think he started to make his decision ahead of time by not demanding that he try to demand he get a catchweight fight rather than completely submit to the wishes of the guy who controls the money. That's Canelo. And go up and wait.
Did you notice the body language of Charlo? I thought Charlo was going to do really good. I thought he had a chance to win. But from the minute I saw the early weigh-ins, the early press conference, I thought Charlo's body language looked terrible. During the face-off, he had his hands behind his back. Canelo takes off his glasses. Charlo takes off his glasses. It was like he was taking his cues from the champ. And it really looked, I just thought he didn't look confident. He was always looking away first. Canelo just seemed to be the boss in there in every interaction they had, carrying over into the fight.
Yeah, well, I tweeted that all night. He was the boss. And look, he was. And all of that's accurate. And it's easy for us to point it out because, hindsight is 20/20. So, yeah, in hindsight, we look at it, we could say, oh, wow, his body language was weak. It was poor. He was sending a message. We should have saw it, or we did see it, but it was too late, to say anything about it because it was just at the last minute, whatever. Afterwards, it's easy to say that. Look, nothing looked good. Nothing really looked great. But again, I'm not going to go the easy road and say, oh, yeah, his body language looked weak, because it's obvious that there was a lot of things that weren't strong about that effort. The bottom line is that I picked Canelo to win, but I said it was going to be competitive, very competitive, very competitive. So I want that out there. As I just said, what I said about everything. I want full transparency all the time. When I'm right, I want full transparency. When I'm wrong, I want it. I said it was going to be a competitive fight. I was wrong. I was dead wrong. It was everything except a competitive fight. At the end of the day, he was too big, Canelo, too strong, too determined, too aggressive for Charlo. There was spots where Charlo tried to do something, but even then, the punches, it was more like don't hit me punches that I talk about. You know, Ken? It was more like it was punches to keep the guy off rather than to do damage. Canelo's punches were to do damage, as all fighters should be when you're in that ring. But the punches of Charlo were more to keep him off, to keep him from doing more damage, to exist, to live, to survive. And it was evident if you knew what you were watching. You know, it was, I mean, his punches, even he had a good fifth round, he had a decent eighth and ninth round, a little bit, but even then, the punches had the impact of a mosquito at a barbecue, where they were more pesky than they were damaging. And you know, and again, I'm not knocking Charlo. I'm just doing what I do. I'm pointing out what I saw in the way that I saw it. And I'm x-raying it with my experience in a way that I think can be answers for some of the questions. So, Canelo used a nice hard jab, accurate hard jab, you know, to make sure that he kept Charlo defensive, made it hard to pot shot him. He did the right things. He went to the body of the smaller man, the right thing to do. He applied pressure. He cut the ring down well. When he tried to use his legs, Charlo, he did all the things that a really good fighter should do. And he intimidated Charlo. He put the pressure on. He, right from the beginning, showed him who was the boss, as we said a minute ago. And, you know, looked revigorated. He looked like he had something to prove again. Yeah, forget about the physical part, that he looked recharged. He looked better. They talk about surgery on his hand. It was better. All that stuff. Okay, whatever. He looked energized. And that's not because of any surgery on his left hand. He looked energized overall. He looked like he had, you know, sometimes I said that maybe he's made too much money. And he's just going through the motions. He wasn't going through the motions. He was fighting a guy that was trying to get somewhere, trying to prove something. Like a guy in only his 10th fight that wants to get to the real money, wants to get to the top of the mountain. He hasn't been there. He fought that way. He fought like a guy, you know, possessed in a way that, again, I think he wanted to prove something. He heard the naysayers. He heard me. He heard a lot of naysayers saying he was shot, not shot, but slipping and all those things. And he got energized by that. He got impacted by that. And that's good. It shows you that he still cares. It shows you that, yeah, even if he's made a lot of money, when push comes to shove, he's got pride. And he wants to show that pride. That pride shows itself in the way he reacts when he hears people saying that he's no good anymore. Again, he had something to prove that he hasn't had for a while. Now, a lot of people say, well, Teddy, why didn't he prove it against Bivol. Well, I think some of his shortcomings came up there. Bivol's a really dimensional, good fight. He's bigger, but I think it was more that how good Bivol is in so many areas. Did he underestimate Bivol? Maybe, but it takes nothing away from the fact that Bivol was a better fighter, and that Bivol, exposed him on that particular night. Now, here's the fair point here, people. Did he just expose Charlo, where Charlo didn't have the ability Bivol has or the confidence to expose him? And does he now get away with a free pass because we're saying he's great again off of this win? What does the win really represent? That he beat a guy that was intimidated, a guy that was 2 weight classes too small, a guy that was inactive a year and a half? Yeah, he beat a good, solid fighter. But I want to see him. I don't want to see this no more. I've said it before. And I say it with other fighters. Not just with him. I want to see him with Benavidez. I want to see him. You want to go back with Bivol? Go ahead. Or you want to go with Beterbiev, whatever. Or you want to even go with that kid, Morel, that's 9-0 from Cuba, that was an Olympian. He's only got 9 fights. He had a lot of amateur fights. He looks like a prodigy. They're all talking him up. Is that his name, David Morel? I believe that's his name. I think he's 9-0. Fight him. Fight him. Teddy Atlas will be the first one that'll be there saying, okay, all right. But don't use this. Don't wrap this, around your neck. The way that over in Europe, in France, they wrap the thing of flowers, the horseshoe of all kinds of nice flowers around your neck, right? Triumph, when you do something, you win a race or whatever the heck they're doing over there. No, not for this.